First, to provide safety and protection for anybody in a side of a family who is in any kind of danger. And secondly, one thing that I think we have really not focused on enough is working with males, with men, where there has been violence, because many times it's much easier to work with women because the women come more easily to groups, to centers seeking help. And I think one of the things I was very impressed with at this Congreso was groups like Gendes who are working with men in Mexico, and groups like Men's Resource International in my own country, which is in my city as well, where they're doing a lot of preventive work as well as work with men after they have been violent, and really focusing on what happens with males in the whole issue of violence. One is to do group work with men and to really hold them accountable to each other and offer support to men after there has been violence so that they can find out what's happening within themselves, what within the family is triggering them, what their own family history is. As I'm a family therapist, I'm very interested in what people are bringing from their own background that makes them not be able to control their anger or not be in touch enough with their own emotions or their own sense of self, such that they do act out and become violent. So helping people to understand some of what their own past is, but then being accountable and responsible for what they do with their own bodies, their own responses to people. Well, it can be very difficult working with families where there is family violence, and people can burn out from that or have a sense of they're not having that much impact or lose hope. And so any kinds of trainings and supervision are ways to help people keep having this strength, the energy, the support to do this kind of work. Well, it can be very connected because every child that grows up, the family is the very first place that it begins to learn about how to interact with other people, how to be socialized, how to manage your own emotions. So if they're not able to learn within the family how to safely connect and be with other people, and if there are not people there within the family who are connecting and holding them in a very tender and secure manner, then they don't have the role models, they don't have the support that they need. So in that sense, I think it is very connected between the family and then what can happen with children ending up on the street, sometimes because they're trying to escape from a home where there is violence. It's a little tricky, this notion of violence in the family, because it's usually violence that's happening with males towards children, towards women. And sometimes when we say violence in the family, we obscure that it's really male aggression. So it's a little tricky using that term. Well, as I was saying to you earlier, I've had at least 20 people say to me that they have completely changed their point of view of how they would do work with children who are in the streets, because they realize the importance of connecting children with their families, with their communities, of seeing this as a community issue, seeing it as a family issue, and not just working with the children. And I just was facilitating a group of about 30 people where our focus was bridging what we've learned at this conference into each of their institutions and organizations and cities where they work, towns where they work. And it was so inspiring to see, many of them said, the first thing I'm going to do is go back to my institution with all of this information and just take a couple of hours and share this. And so this is not just a congress where people here are getting ideas, everybody in that group was, the first thing I'm going to do is take this information back. And so it just ripples out. And the connections that people made and how they're following up with each other and support, everybody's exchanging emails and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do, can you help me with this, and I'll be in contact with you by email. So it's a network that gets created that's much, much larger than just this conference. Para JUCONI, keep doing the amazing work you're doing.